If you have Ehlers-Danlos and you struggle with feeling your low back too much during a hamstring curl, here's a variation that might help. You don't need much equipment to do it, so it's a great option if you're training from home, if your gym doesn't have a hamstring curl machine, you're traveling, etc. You just need a light band, a foam roller, and the ankle strap is optional. So what we're going to do is attach the band to something down low. I've got it attached to the bottom of the Smith machine at the lowest setting, but if you're training from home, you can attach it to the bottom of a door or the bottom of a table leg, whatever you've got. Just make sure it's secure. Now I've attached the other end to my ankle strap, which if you've got one, it does make it a bit more comfortable. If you don't, you can still do the exercise. It just might be a little bit more awkward to get the setup right. The next thing is I've got a foam roller and I'm putting it underneath my hips. This is not underneath my hip bone. This is underneath the crease or bend of my hip. My upper body is completely relaxed with my head resting on my arms. Now I'm performing this as an isometric exercise, which is where you lift and then hold part way. And the reason I'm doing this is because performing an exercise as an isometric is a great way to regress an exercise. And even though I'm quite advanced as a lifter, for some reason at the moment, my body is not loving hamstring curls. And even doing this version as a moving version, so a dynamic exercise rather than isometric, still kind of aggravates my hip a little bit. So I'm just doing it as an isometric. If you're able to do it as a dynamic movement, so no pause at the top, go ahead and do that. So why does this banded version help take the low back out of this exercise? Well, because we're using a band, the amount of tension or the difficulty of the exercise changes depending on how much stretch is on the band. At the start of the exercise, when our legs are in an extended position, there is not much tension on the band, so it's quite easy. And sometimes if we're using a machine, our low back will kick in during this initial phase to kick off the movement. So this takes that out of it. Our upper body is also very relaxed, which means we're less likely to hoist with our low back to complete the exercise. Now I'm using a pretty light band here, so you do not have to go crazy with a heavy band. I've also got some range to move in. You can see my foot's nowhere near my butt. It gets pretty hard at the top. So rather than increasing the band, what I'll try and do is try and get my foot closer to my butt as I get stronger with this exercise. As always, we want to be exercising pain-free, no clicking, no clunking, especially with strength exercises, and make sure, as always, you get clearance from a good physio or doctor before you start exercising. Let me know how you go with this exercise.